welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today I want to share with you the books that I'm planning to read in October. As per the usual, this TBR is a little bit ambitious, but that is to be expected because Victober is home to my favorite read-along of the whole year, which just focuses on reading Victorian literature. There are prompts involved and stuff, but I rarely follow the prompts. I usually have books that I'm planning to read for Victober, and I usually go overboard because I get so excited about it. So some of these books are going to be for Victober, some of them are buddy reads, some of them are ongoing read-alongs that I have throughout the year, and all of that kind of stuff. So let's dive in. Okay, starting with read-alongs. First of all, we are continuing with Missed Along, our read through of all the Mistborn books this year. And in October, we'll be reading The Bands of Mourning, which is book 3 of Era 2. So we're actually kind of like drawing to a close. After this book, we have one more book and then a novella, and that's it. So we're getting towards the end of this read-along, but I'm really enjoying Era 2. You may have also seen my announcement that I am doing a read-along with Dia and with Chrissy for a Spurgeon book. We're going to be reading Honest Faith, which is a really short book about doubt and seeking and all of that kind of stuff. It's under 100 pages, so if you have wanted to try some Spurgeon or you had difficulty keeping up with the reading pace for the Spurgeon that we read last year, this is perfect because it's super accessible. It's available for free on Kindle, so join us if you can. It's going to be wonderful. Okay, let's dive into some Victorian books. So for my Patreon, we wanted to read a Victorian book together because my Patreon is like sort of centered around classic literature. That's not all that we read there, but it is most of what our group reads end up being. It's some sort of classic. Some of them are more modern classics, but overall, that's typically what we read. So I couldn't pass up Victober and not read a Victorian classic with them. So I put up a poll, and the book that won is The Trumpet Major by Thomas Hardy. I'm really excited because I've heard some really good things about this one. I don't know a whole lot about it. I think it has to do, I think there's a war going on during it, and I think it's a historical book that Thomas Hardy wrote. I think I remember reading that it's like his only historical fiction that he wrote. And I know that there's either like a love triangle or a love square that's happening. I've also heard that it's more gentle and humorous than a lot of Hardy's other works, so it might not be as dramatic and traumatizing as some of his other books, although I like the drama and the sadness of a lot of his other works, so we'll see. I'm also going to be picking up a Wilkie Collins, which is obviously for Victober, but also it's just perfect for October because it's usually got the more like gothic, mysterious vibe, so I feel like it is perfect. So I'm going to be reading Poor Miss Finch, which I don't know much about. I think that the protagonist is blind, maybe? Yeah, it's an intriguing story about a blind girl, Lucilla Finch, and the identical twins who both fall in love with her. And I'm not going to read any more than that because I've read the back of Wilkie Collins books before and been spoiled, so we're not doing that this time. I'm buddy reading this with Dia, and you'll notice a theme. There's a lot of books that I'm reading with Dia this month. So there's the Spurgeon book. She was part of my Patreon, so I'll be reading The Trumpet Major with her. Then there's this one. And we're also going to be reading 3 Men in a Bummel with Rainy from Rainy Day Reads. And that is so wonderful. We read 3 Men in a Boat together last year for Victober, and it was so funny and so much fun, and I loved every second of that book. It was just hilarious. So I'm really excited to see what the 3 men get up to in this adventure and how chaotic and hilarious it ends up being. I don't think there's a subtitle for this one because the other one was 3 Men in a Boat to Say Nothing of the Dog. And so there was a dog named Montmorency in the first book. So I really hope that Montmorency makes a comeback in this book because he was one of my favorite parts of the last book. And the last book that I am going to be reading for Victober this year is also my classic for the month, and that's The Food of the Gods by H.G. Wells. So this is a book that I picked up at McKay's last year at some point, partly because of the cover, because the cover is just absolutely insane, and apparently it's about these scientists who create some sort of substance that they give to animals and stuff that make them humongous. And so like you can see here how big the egg is, and there's a bird hatching from it, and then they say like, what would happen if they gave this to human babies? And so It just sounds like so campy and so fun, and I'm really excited to read it. I also want to read this month Dickens Land by Lee Jackson. So The Curious History of Dickens London is the subtitle of this. Tia bought this for me for my birthday, and I know that she is reading this in October as well, so I have a feeling that we'll both read it and end up talking about it. So probably yet another book that I'll end up reading with Tia. Okay, moving on to other books that I am going to be reading in the month of October. So my in-person book club is reading an Agatha Christie this month. We are going to be reading A Murder is Announced, which is a Miss Marple mystery, and it is actually one of the few Agatha Christie's that I've not yet read. I went through a couple of years where I wasn't reading very much, and if I was reading, it was nonfiction, and when I came back to fiction about 6 years ago, I dove hardcore into Agatha Christie for the first time in my life and read almost all of her works within the course of a year, and this is one of the few that I didn't get to, so I'm really excited to read this one. I don't know anything about it other than that it's a Miss Marple. I am more of a Poirot girly. I find Miss Marple to be a little bit on the boring side as a detective, but that doesn't mean that I don't still wholeheartedly like enjoy the mystery part of it, so I think I'm still gonna love it. I am also with Dia, in case you were wondering. Yet another book I'm reading with Dia. We are embarking on a journey with Kristin Lavransdatter by Sigrid Undset. So this is a classic Norwegian book, and it actually has 3 books within it. So this giant book is like 3 books in one. I'm really excited to read this book. I don't know very much about it other than the fact that it is about a woman named Kristin Lavransdatter living in Norway in, I think, the 14th century. So I don't know anything else about it other than that. I haven't read very many medieval books that are set anywhere but England. So I'm really excited to see what this is like. I don't have many expectations going in because I have heard mixed things about it, but I haven't really heard very many details about what people think, what they love or don't love about it, other than I've heard that the writing is really beautiful. So I'm going into this expecting really beautiful writing, and that's my only expectation going in. So I really hope that I love it. I really think that I will. So another book that I got for my birthday, I'll probably have a haul video coming relatively soon to you, but another book that I got for my birthday from my friend Whitney Drew is October Country by Ray Bradbury. This is a collection of short stories, fall short stories specifically. So I am really excited to read this. I love Ray Bradbury. I love everything I have ever read by him, which to be fair is not a ton. It's a couple of his novels and a few of his short stories. So I really want to read this collection of short stories. I know that Whitney is reading it in October as well, so I really want to read this with her. We are reading our way through Skyward as well, so I don't know if we're gonna pick up the next Skyward book or if we're just gonna read this. I haven't talked to her about it yet, so I'll have to figure that part out. But I'm so excited to read more Bradbury, especially in October. Well, those are my definitive plans for October. There might end up being more books that I put on here. I have like some fall books that I would love to get to, but obviously buddy reads and read-alongs are the priority. So I'm really looking forward to my reads in October. I love just immersing myself in Victorian literature for a month, as well as some other kind of fall books that I have here, and some Spurgeon, which also works for Victober because he was a Victorian pastor in England. So it works for that as well. And then we've got, you know, some Mistborn, Kristin Lavransdatter. So I think it's going to be a really great month of reading. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. What are you reading in October? Are you participating in any read-alongs? I know that there's a lot of them. I have seen so many of them pop up, but I just prioritized Victober and went all in there. But I know that there's so many really wonderful read-alongs and readathons that happen in the month of October. So I'd love to hear what you are participating in and what you are the most excited about reading in October. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me. And I will see you again next time.